Good morning and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, mate. Welcome to Love in the Morning. And this is part two of my conversation with two of my three daughters, my beautiful daughters, who um, so enthusiastically said, yeah, let's do part two. Um, my youngest daughter, Jill, I talked to her and she just for her, this is too difficult. And she said, I don't want to answer any questions on Zoom. I don't feel comfortable. And I wanted to make mention of that just because this isn't the easiest topic to talk about, and everybody has their own unique expression. And other people, some of us, I'll include you girls because you're so brave, are okay with having the conversation, but wherever you are, publicly, sorry, wherever you are, there's no judgment there. And we send Jill our love. And yeah, so here we are. Okay, so part two. Duh. And I thank you because it is an early morning. We kind of changed our timelines, and everybody's like fresh and beautiful after a wonderful night's sleep, right?
Right.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Um, I guess I'll start. And you guys, I did ask you if you had any questions for me. I would love to answer them. And if you don't, I'm like, why? Why don't you do? Am I such an open book? Probably.
I
But okay.
feel like we've all been asked, haven't they?
Okay. So we'll kind of go back out kind of where we left off. Something you said, Sarah. It's like big life decisions that you make after the death of someone you love. Are they a good thing? Are they not? What has your experience been? Like, what are your thoughts on this? And I'm going to start with you, Sarah, because you were the one who brought it up.
Thanks. Um, well, yeah, big life decisions after you lose your dad, everything seems stupid. Everything sucks and nothing makes sense, and you feel like, what's the point in a
Mm,
lot of things? And you just feel like I just felt totally lost and like I was drowning and I didn't know what to do going forward.
right.
So I after he passed away and we went back to work, I like had no interest in doing what I was doing anymore. I just any motivation or spark I think that I had for the work that I was doing was gone. It didn't matter to me, which felt awful. I felt so guilty and um loss just keeps coming up. Like I just didn't know what to do. And so I quit my job. Like I talked to you, I talked to Erin, I talked to Raina. Like I was just like, I can't do this anymore, and I'm just not gonna.
That was a big decision. And
Yeah.
so when you made a decision, like when you make a decision like that, you quit your job, you're part of the income in your family. Like that must have added a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I decided very quickly after I quit to go to school and take my diploma in like as an educational assistant after talking to Raina. And it had been some like working with kids and in schools has been something that I always really was interested in, and I love kids, especially like elementary aged, preschool aged kids. They're so sweet and smart, and it's just makes you smile to work with them even when it's hard. Um, and so like yeah, talking to Raina, she was like, "You should do this. This is like you should." And I was just like, "Yes, I'm going to do it."
Yeah,
And so I like literally like just like signed up for school and got student loans and just like was like this is happening. And of course like I Aaron supported me 100%. And we talked when we talked about it, it was like like the hours are good. It's like the same hours that the kids are in school. Like there's not like you get the same time off, and just like being with my family is right now like the most important thing.
Yeah, do you
Like
find that it's more important, do you think? Like now after experiencing this? Yeah, you can both chime in
for
on that.
sure. I mean my family, like you guys included, are my favorite people in the whole world. And yeah, especially after he passed away, I just want to be with you guys and them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and so when you look back on this, and a lot of times they say, the experts in the area of grief will say, you shouldn't make really big
Totally.
life decisions after the death of a loved one. How did, like, when you look at it now and just like, hearing you describe this, this sounded like this was the right thing to do for you.
Right. I mean, I looked like after I did it and like was in school and looking at like student loans and then like how much educational assistance actually make
Oh,
and
yeah.
like all of that stuff, I was like, okay. Like, but the fact that like I go to work and I love what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and for this season of my life, it works and it's fine.
That's so good. Like,
And I work at the same school that Nora goes to, which is awesome. And I love the school that I'm at, and I love the program that I'm working in, and I love the other EAs and the teachers. And so
you're
it's
good.
good. It was the right move.
That's so good. And Raina, do you have anything to add? Like for you, was there any, because you had already um ventured into this. And Sarah, you didn't quit your job till, was it like around April?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you, again, going into the workplace, and like you said, you just found you had no spark. So, Raina, you had already transitioned into being an EA. You were in a very complex group, if I can say that. The room,
Yeah,
a
no, it is
new
a
a new a new program. It was just starting out, and there was a lot of demands on your energy, your emotion, all of that. So, did you make any big life changes, or just we can touch on like actually going back to work?
Yeah, I think for me, I was really just in survival mode
Mm,
because, yeah, I was working in a brand new program to that school, so it hadn't yet been established. Everything was new. We were just figuring it out as we were going. And again, just not without getting too far into like the state of our education system and lack of
yeah,
funding. And, we were working with very little to try to make, you know, the program we had work. And in the program, I'm working with kids with very complex needs. It's a lot of emotional regulation, like constant co-regulating all day. And that when you're not going through a crisis or you're not dealing with a really significant loss is exceptionally draining and hard. And then you add on top of it, you know, I guess getting back into the workforce and trying to just mask your own devastating grief and loss to show up and be who those kids need you to be is no small feat. And I can't say that I did it exceptionally well, but I want to offer myself some grace on that
yeah,
because it just was a really hard spot to be in. Um, I used to joke a lot about disassociation,
yeah.
but I feel like that first year after dad died, that's the state that I
Mm.
had to be in to survive. And it was a really hard place to be because I am a very passionate person and I really care about what I do. But it was just, I was just so overwhelmed. So I definitely wouldn't say that I made any major life choices. I would say that if anything, I just kind of couldn't.
Yeah.
That what I couldn't allow myself to even
Yeah.
go to that place because I was just so overwhelmed and just really trying to like hold myself together to be able to do what I was doing. Um, in my case, I found like I had a lot of my grief come through as anger, which was really interesting. um, but at the same time, having awareness that my anger was misguided and most people didn't deserve it. So it added another layer of suppression that I had to deal with because I knew it was not rational and it was a manifestation of deep sadness and grief.
Yeah.
But it was coming out that way. So um, I was angry a lot. I was angry watching the people around me just carrying on with their lives. And again, I get emotional every time I do this freaking podcast, but um, I just, I had such a deep feeling of like, how the fuck does the world just keep going when a person who is so important to us is not here anymore? How do I just pretend that I care about this stupid meeting or like this doesn't matter. So it like I had this major perspective shift about what was actually important and
Mm,
what wasn't,
yeah.
but it wasn't appropriate in the scope of like having to do life. Like you can't just be like, you guys, my dad died. This is not fucking important to me right now, so shut up. Like I don't want to deal with this.
That always makes me think of like that episode of New Girl where Nick Miller's like, dead dad card.
Wearing his orange tracksuit,
Yeah,
being like, I don't
I
care
don't
about
care.
any of this. It makes no sense. Dad card. Totally. Like it that's what it felt like all the time. And having to like mask that and pretend that you care about things or that things are actually important to you that you're like, this is so stupid.
Yeah,
Or I felt like a really bad friend and coworker because when people would complain or talk about things in their life like people do, I do it.
right.
We all do it. I
Yeah.
would be thinking in my head, are you fucking kidding me right
And
now?
trying not to like just roll your eyes and because
Totally.
you
Or
can't
just
control your
like
face.
or just like not saying anything and just like walking away. Like that's what I wanted to do all the time, being
Yeah,
like, I don't have time for this. This, I don't care about this.
yeah,
Um, so I think it was just the intensity of that feeling for me was like cranked to like
Yeah.
200%. I don't know
This,
if
no, this is so important because I think, like we touched on it a little bit, like you both, well, all three of you, my beautiful daughters, his beautiful daughters, had to go back to your life. Like there was no reprieve. And you get like this is what is so wild to me. When you break your arm or you break a leg or whatever, you get time off. Um, a significant amount of time off. Even if you don't break it at work, like it's like there's a, and when you lose a loved one, there's a criteria. It's like, oh, if it was a grandparent, you get 2 days or whatever. And if it was
it
a
like ranks
parent,
them.
you
Yeah.
get
yeah,
3. And if it's a spouse, you get 5. Then get your ass back to work. And here's the thing I want to say to employers out there, these people are going to come back to work and they are not going to be the same. They're not going to have the same capacity. You have like, and it's like you have to make adjustments, just like somebody who comes back with a broken arm. This is an emotional break. Like this is a huge thing that we carry, and people just think that you're just going to be like, and it's what people do. You're going to be able to fake it till you make it.
yeah.
How exhausting is that, Sarah? How exhausting was it to be on all the time, or could you even be on all the time?
No. I didn't mask it well at all. Like I'm pretty sure that when I like was leaving my job, they were like, thank you. It was time because I was like miserable shell of a person that like just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the expectation is so unrealistic. And I
Mhm.
just think like I.
And I mean, and of course, like I had like where I was working, like I had a lot of grace, like they knew dad.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like I was going back to like a big corporation where I was just a number or anything like that. Like it was, but it was just I didn't have it in me anymore to
Yeah.
do what I was doing.
And I think that that's the thing. Like, I don't think even big corporations, I don't think they don't have empathy. It's just
No.
that the wheels keep turning, and this is the
Yeah.
policy, and this is how we're gonna adjust
It's
to
just
it.
the
Like,
way the system is set
yeah,
up.
yeah.
That's
It's
the
like
way it's set up
we
for everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody's
no,
special.
it,
This
it's
is
and
the
it can be
machine.
yeah, it can be unrealistic, but I just feel like and there are organizations that have they incorporate like grief counseling and
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
education, which is like so important, but still, even with all of that, you don't get over this. You learn to adjust to the weight of it. And like you said, Raina, here's where I have so much empathy, and I really did want to have the conversation, was that you guys, like many adult children who lose a parent, and it is not everybody feels the same way. Like
Oh,
if your parent, I'm just gonna throw in my example. When my father died, I didn't see my dad that much. We didn't have a great, like super close relationship. I was sad, but it didn't change my day-to-day life because he wasn't in my life day to day. And that may sound really harsh, but I think of him. I know the day he died. I remember the last conversation I had with him. I remember all of those things. But I did not have a close relationship with my father. So
mhm.
your grief will definitely reflect the relationship you have with the person
Yeah.
that you've lost. And
yeah,
you guys had a pretty special relationship. It wasn't perfect. You didn't see him every day, but you knew he was always going to be there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about this, what is she going to do? Throw in a curveball. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you lost your father, carrying on with life. Um, and something that we had planned, Sarah and Aaron had planned, and I had been asked to go on this trip to Disneyland. And we had planned it. We were going to go. When was it? Was it like it was
The
February?
beginning of
February,
February.
yeah, February was the date. And I remember your father looked at me and he said, they can't go because I sent you a message and said, I'm not going.
Yeah.
You guys can go, whatever. And your father never ever said, don't do something because of him.
Yeah.
Said, they can't go. What if something happens and they're gone? They won't be able to get back. What if they can't get back? What, like all these things. He was so worried about how it was going to affect you.
Yeah.
So you made the decision to postpone it.
Mhm.
And we we went in May. And I
Mhm.
decided to go with you. How was that for you,
Like
the trip?
the trip. Um,
It's like, oh, that was so long ago. Oh, do you remember? I just remember one moment, and I didn't even like it. I wasn't even in that moment. You were. It was when we were on we were on the main street, and I was looking to see like where we could get mouse ears, and your face completely changed. And you're like, what? What are you talking about, Mom? You don't remember?
no, I remember.
Hmm. Like, how did that feel for you?
It
Because
was I cried in the middle of Main Street in Disneyland
the
because
happiest place on earth.
the last time we were there, he was with us.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so it was like this. And I know that was something he was never going to come with us on that trip.
No.
He was sending us on our own. And that was just really, really hard. And, you know, I remember for me, it was being in the airport. And then the really, really, really hard part was walking into my hotel suite.
Yeah.
And luckily, your kids didn't all want to stay together, so they used to rotate through my
Yeah.
room. So I didn't have to be by myself. And also that I couldn't FaceTime, but I could FaceTime Raina.
Mhm.
I could like it was like just not being able to talk to him.
Yeah.
It's like these things, these events that happen in our lives. But
You don't even like think, you don't know, like realize how they'll affect you until you're there. That's like when we went to Halifax, just
oh
like, and we were at Peggy's Cove and I was walking out with Nora and I just like had like a total breakdown, like
Grief.
thinking as I was wearing sunglasses. But like I just like all of a sudden I was like overcome with like grief and sadness and just like cried for 15 minutes
yeah.
and
And
like couldn't stop. Like I kept like walking around trying to like look somewhere else so that I could like stop, but I couldn't.
The
well,
panic that
Yeah.
sets in, and you're like,
Stop
how do
crying, stop crying.
well, and Raina, you like I think we've talked about this before, but this is pretty poignant. Like where you did we talk about it in the last one where you got like I was like say grief accosted in Walmart.
Oh no, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
Oh
Or
this
yeah.
one is so again, these are like moments, right? Like, and I just think it's really important if you're listening to this as somebody who has lost someone, but if you're listening to this as someone who's just curious,
Yeah.
um, and maybe what not to do.
yeah. Well, yeah, I started having like this intense fear of going out into public spaces because it happened to me like multiple times where I was okay and I was like I had a objective. I was going to a store to do something, and it was kind of nice because then I could focus on that task. I was usually by myself, and yeah, I was always by myself when these things would happen. And it was just like a nice little break. But, like, I guess if you see someone who's just lost someone very significant in their life and they're at a store shopping, it's probably not the best time to like run up to them and be like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I feel so bad. Like, this is awful. I can't believe this happened." And just like bring up the whole thing and ask a bunch of questions about the death of your person in a
Mhm.
public space because one, it's incredibly like intrusive. Two, it it like takes you out of your anonymity in that space to like doing your errand and like thrusts you into this exceptionally vulnerable space where your emotions are so raw that you probably will start crying or have a breakdown or just be really uncomfortable. And I think genuinely people's intentions are that they just really want to connect with you and be like, I am sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad. And I want you to know that. But it's like, public spaces, not appropriate. Maybe send me a little message later
Yeah.
and say something. Don't
Oh, don't hug
accost
me.
me.
Don't hug me if I don't know
Yeah,
you.
definitely don't hug without consent with a grieving person in a public space. That is probably the most awful
And
thing.
then, and then you actually can be made to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm such an asshole. Like
Totally. And
oh,
yes, a
because
hundred
you're
percent,
like, you're
a
like
hundred percent.
this and you just want to run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, 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 I have to say, like, that's what happened to me in church.
Oh God.
Um,
Yeah.
and I stopped, and this is like, again, when you experience a big loss like this, trust is like it's very fragile. And your space, like everything, like I think it's like your nerve endings feel like they're raw and exposed. And you walk into what you think, like, and these things happen to you in a place. I think they actually even happen to you at school. So these are
Totally.
places that you've been to before, but then some of them were surprises for you. Like you got some really great encounters. And I mean that not they weren't
No,
great, but so
sarcastic.
thinking going into this place that I'd been to, and I felt relatively safe in. I People were just coming up to me, and it was like the hug where they're wanting you to um let go so they can comfort you, and I felt like so violated.
Yeah.
And I was like, and a lot of these people, not people that really knew me, didn't do this. It was people that kind of knew me, and it
Right.
was like they wanted, like, and then you get the things like, oh, he's in a better place. God would not, you know what, God gave you what you like, he wouldn't give you more than you could handle. And you're standing there, and I remember thinking, what the actual fuck? Like,
Yeah.
these are not, even I'm just going to say, even if these statements were true, they're not something you need to hear.
Yeah.
Um, and I went twice, and I'm like, and I tried again, and it was just like, no. And I feel like if people don't know me, I could probably go in, because my issue's not with God, with faith. And I do have more compassion for them. Like you said, Raina, I think it came from a place of
Totally.
kindness and love, but I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel like it was appropriate. Yeah, it's all these
Well,
things.
I think what happens is it's like people who are carrying around significant loss in their lives, you you feel so exposed because when you're walking around day to day not experiencing that, you don't have to worry about a grief bomb coming up and exploding on you in a public setting where I think it really shines the light on the problematic narrative in our society that you can't grieve publicly. It's not always an acceptable practice. It's like people look at you like, whoa, you need to get it together. Like showing raw emotion, especially deep sadness and grief in a public space, is an incredibly vulnerable thing to do. And not everyone in your life deserves or is a trusted enough person
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have that exchange with. So when you're out in public and that's on the surface and you don't know if you can, if your shield is thick enough to withstand the blow of grief that comes at you, it is so anxiety inducing to just be in the world and not know where that's going to come from. It
yeah.
just adds this like thing you have to worry about that you never had to worry about before. And it is like you said, like it's violating. It's like you can't um, you can't always pick and choose who's going to come at you with that stuff, and you don't always want that person to see that side of you. And I
No.
think that's a valid thing. Like not everybody should be allowed to see you in that space. Like
Yeah, and I think, like, and something that I am a proponent of is being able to grieve, like however you need. And a lot of times it isn't, like exactly what you said. We do have to mask at some points. Like, I think that in order to function in the world safely, and then people can look at you and go, wow, they're doing so good. You're over it now. And it's like, no, 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 you don't, like, and it's like, I don't even want to have this conversation. I don't need to justify if I'm over it, because I will never be over it. But I don't have to
it's
justify my joy.
exhausting.
I don't
Yeah.
have to justify my joy or my sadness, because I think as grievers, we can be judged either way. Um, and like, Sarah, did you ever experience anybody like kind of doing that to you?
I was just trying to think if I had, and I think that I like just didn't go anywhere.
I think that like this is another huge reason why grief is so isolating.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, like yeah, people kind of disappear from your life because they don't know what to do, but
Ooh.
then you also kind of disappear yourself
Yeah, I think that's
because
totally
you
what I
don't want
did.
to deal with falling apart in front of people all the time
Well,
because
and
you're
Yeah.
people
fragile.
People
right?
don't like, honestly, like you said, like that. I think that was one of my questions. Like, it said, what parts of your life feel emptier and what parts have grown or deepened because of this impact on your life? And I think, like, when you think about like friendships, did you lose friendships? Did you gain different friendships? Did you choose to lose those friendships, or did they just walk away?
Yeah. I think it can't be like it, well, I can only speak for myself. I think initially it was easier for me to think like, oh, all these people just fucked off and they don't care about me anymore. Like, whatever, screw them. But it's not that black and white. I think
Mhm.
it's always a two-way street. Um, and I think it is that kind of complex dance between removing yourself and also people not knowing how to deal. And
Yeah.
it becomes too complicated and
Yeah,
weird and off-putting. So then you both kind of just let it go. And
yeah,
then that paired with this new awareness that comes after significant loss of what's important and who's important, like time becomes like your own personal time and what you spend it on becomes a whole different thing.
yeah,
It like you don't want to continue like the facade of friendships that are not meaningful or adding value to your life because you realize how fragile life really is and you really want to spend your time with people that truly matter to you,
yeah. And
right?
Sarah, what about you? Did you have any? I mean, you isolated yourself, like you said, you didn't.
Yeah, I
Did
feel
you
like
find?
that's what I did. I shut myself off from everybody
Yeah.
and then just started a new job and
Yeah.
just started
So
fresh.
in a way, was that like a little bit easier because people didn't know your history? Do you think? Like
Kind
that
of,
might
but I
be.
mean, where I went, people knew
Mm,
me, and like the school that I went to, like I, Raina worked there too, so they knew that
Yeah.
we were sisters, and it was kind of
That's
like,
true.
but it was far, like it was like almost a year later that I
yeah,
went to work there, so it wasn't as like
Fresh.
fresh, and I think being like because I isolated myself and was going to school like online at home, like I didn't have to deal with people who knew about it.
yeah. And honestly, like, and I can say I did the same thing.
Mm.
I look at myself now and it's very similar. I don't I when your father was alive, I was out all the time. I was
Yeah.
out with people having coffee, going to the gym, just doing stuff like riding my bike. Like I was always doing stuff with the grandkids, which I still do, which I love.
Mhm.
Now my new thing is a driver. I get to be a driver for the kids. But it's like I that's something that I've become very aware of. It's something I'm trying to uh, help myself move forward, like get out more because I didn't even really realize how much a screen you can share your story and you can be really empathetic, but there's a safety in it. So I just need to I'm noticing that about myself. But anyway, thank
Yeah.
you for those answers. I wanted to talk a little bit about tattoos. We all have them, and you can see them. We all have tattoos. Um, Before your father's celebration of life, we all went and got, and this was Sarah's quick thinking. You were in the hospital and you looked at your father and you said, "Dad, can you please write I love you?"
Did I ask him or did
Yeah,
Raina ask him?
I thought it was Sarah. Was it you, Raina?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
Okay, of
It
course
was my, like, I
you were
wanted it and
there.
she asked for it.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, yes, I remember the conversation. Sorry.
No,
So
that's okay. It doesn't
he
matter.
he the only thing he had to write it on was the back of a menu. And so he looked at us and he rolled his eyes because he
Did.
knew
He knew
what we were
exactly
gonna
what we
do.
were doing.
Yeah.
And we all got it. I have it. It says I love you with a spade on it. Arena's got I love you, and
It's hidden.
I
Sarah's is
made too.
much more subtle. And then I also have this in it. You can't see it, but it's his fingerprint. It's got some of his ashes, and Raina got one too that said, and it says "I love you" on the back. So that was the first tattoo. Did anyone else did you get another tattoo in memoriam of him, or was that it?
We got our
Oh yeah,
1111.
I forgot about 1111.
Yeah.
These little signs that came to us. And I also have some crows. And this one right here, which was very painful but very meaningful, is a tattoo that represents all of you. The great big flowers are my daughters, and each one is slightly different. And then these flowers here, there's five of those, which is really interesting because he didn't know the sex of my grandchildren. So there are five of these, and then there's two of these. So they represent, and they're slightly different. They represent each child, and the arrow is represents your dad. I always thought like he was steadfast. He was a straight shooter. He was like he was like our, well, Sarah, you call him like the anchor. I call him my true north. So when you have them, like when you look at them, what is it? Does it make you feel something like warm, or does it hurt sometimes? Like what does it feel like when you look at these?
Um, I think it, I love it. I love having them, and it just, I don't really know how to describe it. It just makes me feel like I have some part of him with me all the time.
I love that. Raina, you?
Yeah,
Same?
I feel the same way. Like I feel like before I might have thought something like that was kind of cheesy or whatever, but now it's like I know, like the things you don't know until you know. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so much more sentimental now, and I like it's very comforting to me to feel like I have something on me at all times that connects me to him. Um, whether it makes me feel sad or happy on a given
Doesn't
day, it
matter.
just depends. But I think it
Yeah.
just, yeah, it became kind of important.
Well, it's interesting when I look at these tattoos, and I mean, this one is like I love this one so much. I wanted to do this for a long time, even when he was
Yeah.
alive. I just felt like it was so much. It was so important to me. I didn't want to have everyone's name, although I do have your dad's name back here. Did that when it was 30 years, but anyway, I love this one, and I hope that you guys love it too because it means so much. Like I look at it and I smile and think of like each one of you. And then they're on my right arm. And I often will just like grab a hold and I'll look at "I love you." And I just ended up like 1111. And when 1111 comes up, like often we'll send each other messages. But I also have this tattoo that says steadfast, which is it's a funny story about that because I had a tattoo appointment and I didn't know. I was like, I completely forgot about it. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, I
What are we
have
gonna
to
get?
go. And I think Sarah, you came with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I get? What do I get? And I was like, I think I'm gonna get a word. And I'm like, steadfast, because that reminded me of your father. And
Yeah.
so it's like I've got all these things on, and I have this first tattoo that I got with Aaron. Like, there's so many, like, people will say, like, do your tattoos mean anything? And actually, they do. And these ones really are significant. And I'm so glad that we have these memories. Now, on to a really tough question. And then I know we'll wrap this up. If you guys have questions for me, you can ask. But this one is okay. So after the death of your father, did you experience the fear of losing someone else? Like, did that become heightened for you? Like, because you think about this, like think about before. I mean, we talked about this. Like, you were nervous. He wasn't healthy, but it wasn't like it was like not, I wouldn't even say a fleeting thought. It was probably there all the time, but you hadn't experienced that death. So after that, what kind of transpired for you in like if there was a fear of losing someone, losing like you dying or someone in your family dying, like what
Oh
was that?
yeah. I feel like anxiety about that all the time. Like just any other person that I love dying in whatever way, or myself dying and what that means for the people that I love. And I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I have another point to add. So, isn't it interesting? Because I think people might think that if you've experienced a devastating loss, that your next loss, you'll know what to do.
No. Mm-mm.
Or you'll know
No,
you're going to grieve.
I think like for me, it's again just like your awareness changes. Like death, you always know, like you always knew it existed,
Yeah.
but you can't know what that feels like until it happens.
Yeah.
And then when you know, it's so devastating when it's someone who's really important to you that just the knowledge that it is going to happen again
Yeah.
multiple times and it's going to keep happening more and more as you age is really hard truth that just kind of
Preaching to the
rocks
choir. Yeah.
your world. Like before, it was like, yeah, death's a thing, but
Yeah.
I don't, again, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You're not thinking of that reality and you've never experienced the truth of it
Yeah.
until you do. And then when you do, you're like, oh fuck, like this is real. And I know I keep saying the word devastating, but I don't know another word to use. Like, and then you think of how much you love the people that you really care about in your life, and you're just like, you can't, I think it's just human nature. You're like, oh my God, what is it going to be like
Yeah.
when that person's gone?
Yeah.
And then, like
You
it's
can't
really
plan for
tough.
a feeling, right? You can't plan. Like it doesn't matter how much loss you've experienced in your life. You can't compare them. You can't. It's like, yeah. And I mean, you guys have been, it's not funny, but after your father died, I went into warp speed to make sure that everything was in order. That, I redid the will. I, you know, gave you guys had your roles and you have the right roles for sure, but you're also going to be working together. And I know that it was so hard for you guys because I kept saying, like, you guys, one day I'm going to die. And
Mm.
you're like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
No,
And
yeah,
I wanted to talk about it all the
All
time
the time.
because I was so afraid that you weren't going to be like I could and
and that was so hard.
I
That was
realize
so,
now and I have to apologize, but I realize now that I what I was doing was I was trying to prepare you and give
Yeah.
you and again
totally.
that's not wrong. Trying to prepare you, give you as much as I could to ease some of the shit you have to go through after someone dies
Yeah.
because the devastation of having someone die is a lot to carry. And then you've got to do paperwork. And then I realized I'm like, I can't make that part better. All I can do is tell you where everything is to the best of my ability. Good luck. But just it is really hard. And I myself, like I remember I like, sitting with Brody and him asking me questions about like when I'm gonna die. And I love that he asked me that question. And and it wasn't, I didn't find it awkward, but he wasn't afraid to ask me the question. And he said, I'm gonna be really sad. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, I think you will be. And then, like, or laying with any of them, like, when they're snuggling or, just sitting beside the older guys because they don't snuggle as much, but, um, and holding back tears, thinking, one day I'm not going to be here for them. And that's where I realized that was your dad. I remember when he said, I'm really going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss you so much. And thinking in my head, how are you going to miss us? He missed us. He was already missing us. So it's like it's so hard. Like there's so many layers to this. But anyway, before we go, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question
Okay.
that I thought of right before. Was like, I think, and I'm not going to speak for Sarah, but I think she feels the same way. Like, one of the hardest things for me after dad died was thinking of you at home alone, um, not having your person and just being alone in that house, and how difficult that would be. Um, and that weighed so heavily on my heart, like at all times after. And like recently, Auntie Maggie has, like, she also lost her husband, and you guys decided to move in together. And I remember like thinking, like, I just, that thought brought me so much joy
Yeah.
because I know your and Maggie's relationship, and just thinking that you would have a person nowhere close to anywhere the same, a completely different relationship, but a person that gets you and can be there with you so that you're not alone in the house and she's not alone. And I just wanted to ask about coming to that decision and how that's been and what that's brought to your life and how you feel about it. Just a real simple question for
Yeah.
you.
Well, it is interesting because my sister and I years ago used to joke about one day that we were going to be two old ladies sitting on the front porch with long gray braids and long gray beards. Because when you get older, you just get all this frickin' facial hair. And we used to laugh about it, but we never felt like it was not a real thing in our head.
Yeah.
And then yeah, my sister has been I mean, she's older than me, but you would never know it. She's like this light. My sister is this joyful, like just she's like she just exudes joy. Like if you look at her, you spend any time with her, you always feel happy. She's just this beautiful light, and she always has been. Um, and anyway, we've always been like later in life we got to be like friends. We didn't see each other all the time because we lived in different places. And then really like I think 2016 was when we started to really spend more time together. I would go and visit her and spend a week there because we felt like it was the best because no one else would bug us because family was mostly all here. And not that you bugged us, but it was like we just
No.
wanted our time.
Yeah.
And then she moved here. Well, my beautiful sister, we all know, came right away when she found out that John was in the hospital. And I told her that I thought I knew he was dying. And she's like, I'm coming. And I'm like, no, 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 you don't have to come. And she's like, no. And she was just again, a steadfast person that took care of everything in the house, the home, Wendell, all the things that were, and it gave me peace. She drove, she saw John, she did all the things. And um, they moved here thinking that, Mike and John and me and her, we would have this kind of life together. And then Mike died a year after your father. And we went through so much together, so much pain, but so much joy. We could make each other laugh. We never ever didn't hold space for what we were feeling if we were feeling devastated. We understood on a level that, most people don't because we are so connected. It was I call her home in a way, like she's like home, and not in a house, in a person, in a different way than your father was. Um, so I don't even really realize, like I don't remember when it became a real thing. Um, but she had a dog. I had Wendell, and I did get Oreo a cat shortly after your dad died because I love cats, and I'm so glad. And it's kind of Aaron's fault because I was watching him and I was petting Zuli, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want a cat. So I ordered one that day. But anyway, so yeah, we just so realistically, like we had like two dogs and three cats.
Yeah.
But we really hadn't touched on, oh, we were going to get together. And she lived far enough away that it was kind of like we didn't see each other a lot because of the traveling in the winter and stuff. So um, we just decided, I think it was probably because we were doing choir together and anyway, the topic came up and she went, let's do this. So she sold her place We both went through a lot in the process of actually getting her here because she had to get rid of so much again
Yeah.
Right.
because she's living in a suite that is incredible. It's so beautiful. She
So
designed it, had
beautiful.
Beautiful.
help, but it is a vision that is like her. And it
Yeah.
is, it's like you go down there and it's just
So
this
beautiful.
Totally.
garden of beauty. And she's an artist, all this stuff. So that in itself was really hard because I also had to get rid of things again.
Yeah.
Get, I had to go through something I didn't want to, paperwork, and like I had already done that, but really go through it.
Yeah.
So, but finally we moved in together. And here's the thing. It was as soon as she was here, everything that we went up to through up to that point was worth it, I feel. Um,
Hmm.
I love waking up and her coming up the stairs. I love saying, "Hey, do you want a coffee?" We sit together, we dance, we do silly dance things. She had knee replacement surgery. I'm so glad that we could be together and help each other through it. Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, but being with her was not the wrong decision. And she's a very extroverted person who loves to be out in the world, and not as much, but I really do love people. And when I'm with her, I feel more at ease, I guess. So that was a long answer. I really love
No, like
that.
I
And
I'm
having all the animals, sorry, I was gonna,
yeah.
there's 3 dogs and 3 cats.
Yeah.
And there's 2 corgis and Wendell. Wendell, this poor old guy, like he's adjusted to all of the changes, but it's been really hard and he doesn't like to be crowded. As we all know, sorry, Teeter, but if there's too much happening, it's a little bit overwhelming for him. But he has become very puppy-like. Um,
Yeah.
and these puppies are goofs. They make us laugh, but they're also very frustrating because corgis bark too much. And when there's too much activity, it's hard for Dougie. But just I can't change it and I wouldn't. So it's a very happy, busy household, but then it gets very quiet as well because everybody settles down. So, and it makes me happy to know that there's a little bit more of you that can kind of relax because remember, year one, I thought that I was supposed to find someone so that you guys wouldn't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that didn't work great. So,
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I don't know, from my perspective, it just makes me so happy that you have someone like that in your life, a sister that you're close to, that you're so connected with, that can come into your house and just be such a perfect fit, where
Yeah.
it's not adding a burden where you feel like you're having to not walk on eggshells, but you can't totally just be yourself at home. Like you can still do that with her.
my
And it's
gosh,
not
yeah.
like that just makes me so happy because everybody needs to have support from another person. Like
Yeah, not
living alone
everybody.
and having to do everything on your own can definitely be a choice
Oh
for
my
some
God.
people. Like
Yeah.
some people choose that and really like that, but others don't. And we need connection and support. And like, I just, it's been such a comfort for me to know that you have her and she has you and you guys are like it just makes me happy. I don't know how else to say it. I
Yeah,
just love it.
me
And
too.
even like Sarah and I talk now, we're like, oh my God, we're totally gonna live together when we're old and have a hobby farm with donkeys and
Yeah.
ducks and
Like, and
cows.
not everybody has the luxury. And I'm just like, so, because so many people warned us, more so my sister than me, but like, oh, I couldn't live with my sister. And I'm like, I think like there's times where, I mean, it's been hard for her after having her knee replacement surgery because my
Yeah,
sister is a doer. And that
Yeah.
totally.
was hard for me to see her in so much pain and not be able to help in that, but help her other ways, but also um, helping her feeling like she couldn't do a lot of things. So I'm like, I worry. I'm like, are you doing too much? And then it's like I've learned yeah, she's gonna do too much, but she'll suffer the consequences. But the her mental health actually. is better for it. So it's just like
Yeah.
navigating that. But
Yeah.
she's very gracious and she's like, and I always say to her, like, she's not a burden. Um, because I know that if it came to me, and this is the other thing, is like I would, as a mom, I don't want to burden my kids. I'll burden my sister.
But like you said, not everybody has that type of
Yeah.
relationship with a sibling or a family member that this could work so perfectly with. So I think it's just like, I don't know, it's so special that you guys are able to do this and that it actually works and it's not like, oh crap, what did we do? This is not this is not working out. Like it's just it's cool that
No,
it's
and it's
like
like when you really want to spend time with someone, and it's never like where, and there's a lot of times where I'm up in my office, she's downstairs, and we don't see each other for most of the day. Like, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty. And she's like, I like my own space. Like,
ah,
and yeah, so do I. So we have the luxury of being together and not. And
yeah.
I cherish every moment. Sarah, do you have any questions or no?
No, that was a good one.
Mm, it was. It was. Okay, so does anything else you wanted to ask me?
No.
No? Okay, well, thank you for your questions and thank you so much for really like sharing your hearts. I think this is going to be useful information. And like, again, I always say we can't tell you how to grieve. We can't tell you how you feel. We can't tell you how you should feel. We are not you. We are sharing our
This
experiences.
is our legal disclaimer at the end.
No, it's like it's like grief is like a universal experience, but it's so unique. Like I said, it's really very much tied to the relationship that you have with the person, place, or thing that you've lost, and nobody can tell you that it's not valid. How you feel, and please, never compare your grief, even other losses within your life. You can't compare them. You can look at them and you can say, okay, this one felt worse. This is why. There's an understanding. So thank you so much, my beautiful daughters. And Joe, we send you love. We missed you, but we understand. And till next time, good morning. Love in the morning.
All right.
Okay, I'm just going to stop recording.